All right, welcome to Hirus Q and A number 45, or the Azerothian Q and A number 1, since this will be the first Q and A on the Azeroth Weather channel, rather than the main channel. In this video, I'll just be answering questions from the last Q and A over on the WoW channel, and that's it. Little notice, little caveat, little warning. I hurt my throat last week by using it too much for videos. It was my own fault. Like on Friday, after a 2-hour stream where I used my fake voice for 2 hours straight, I decided it would be a good idea to record 3 videos back to back, all of them with my exaggerated fake voice. And afterwards, my throat was hurting really bad for some reason. So apparently you're not supposed to use your voice in that way for so long. So, for this, my voice is fine. I just don't want to hurt it anymore. So I'm trying to give it a little bit of a break. So I'm not going to put too much effort into my fake voice if I don't need to. And I don't think a Q&A really warrants it. So, you're going to get my boring voice for this. Sorry to say. Anyways, let's go on to the questions. In order to save my voice a little bit, I actually cut down some of the questions. There's only 15 of them here. Usually there's 20 to 30 of them. So, question number 1. If WoW servers were to shut down permanently, what would you be doing in the final hours of the game? Hopefully you guys can't hear me adjust my mic. Final hours of the game, I would probably hop on a Tauren Hunter, very first character I ever made, and just plop down in Mulgore and just wait for it to turn off. That seems like I would do. Then maybe I would get sucked into another world. Because that's actually how Overlord starts. It's an anime about a guy who's in a dead MMO, but he was in a virtual MMO. And they were shutting the servers off for the last time, and he decided just to stay in-game while the game got turned off. But instead of it turning off, he just wondered, how come it never turned off? And then all of his NPCs in his building were real people. And he went out into the world and explored. He's like, why? It seems I have been transported to another world. It's the start of a really good anime. It got 3 seasons. That's pretty rare. Next question. Do you think WoW becomes more asocial with every expansion? Here's the thing. I think it's definitely more asocial now than it was at the beginning. BFA compared to Vanilla WoW. Vanilla WoW is definitely a much more social game, because the game forces you into it. But I think there's diminishing returns on it. They can only do so much to the game to the point where it gets to a social level and then kind of plateaus and doesn't get more asocial. If you were to assign number values to the socialness of a game, Vanilla WoW, we can give that a 10 out of 10. The most social part of the game. And then TBC would probably start dropping down a little bit. I don't think it really drops in TBC, but we'll say Wrath once the Dungeon Finder is introduced. That's, when it started going down. It was now at a 7 out of 10. Then LFR added in Wrath Cataclysm. And then it goes down to a 6 out of 10. And, it just goes down and down, but I think it kind of plateaus at around a 4 out of 10. And the next expansion comes out, and they introduce more conveniences and everything, and it doesn't decrease anymore. It just kind of stays at a 4 out of 10. And I think that's kind of where it is now. I would like to meet someone who's able to raid PvP or do Mythic Plus dungeons, at anything but the most casual of level without talking to anyone. You have to still talk to people to do the highest levels of content in the game. Unless you do the highest levels of content at the most casual level. But you have to talk to people still. It's just you don't have to talk to people as much as you used to back in the day for mundane things. So yes, it's definitely more asocial now, but I don't think it can get more asocial with every new expansion unless they just removed multiplayer from high-level content. So that's my opinions on it. I think it kind of hit a plateau at maybe around Mist of Pandaria and then stopped. And that's where we are today. Next question. Hey, thanks here for talking about MTG and Skyrim again. What a broken heart that's left. So, in the last Q&A, I talked a lot about Magic the Gathering and Skyrim, and mainly about how I don't like either of those two things, even though they're both very popular. And I also talked about how I didn't like them because I tried them out myself. You know, I came to the conclusion on my own. I actually went into both of them with a very positive opinion about them and didn't like them afterwards. So let's continue on this question. I think the biggest upside for your fake voice is the conscious effort you put into the articulation to perfection. It makes your videos so much more appealing than others. So, are you currently in closed beta? And how hardcore will you be playing Classic when it's live? Well, I guess this is multi-part. So first up, Magic the Gathering and Skyrim. I guess there's not much to talk about that. My fake voice, conscious effort into articulating, I guess that's kind of what it is. Like, the fake voice is just my real voice. It's just, effort is put into, just more energy is put into it. That's all it is. And let's see. So, are you currently in closed beta? I am not in closed beta. But through some YouTubers I know, they were able to give me an email, and I sent one off. And then Blizzard said, hey, we don't have any spots right now, but you're on a waiting list. So, once we have another round of invites, you'll definitely get in. Or, well, they didn't say that. They said, if once they invite more people in, I don't know. I'm on the waiting list to get in. I'm not in right now, though. And, how hardcore will you play Classic when it is live? I'm sure I'll treat it as if it's a new WoW expansion. So, play it pretty regularly for a few months. Until I hit some kind of cap and then stop. And then probably swap over to BFA. Because, I already play other games besides WoW. So, I would just treat it like another game. That's current me talking. Future hero. He probably will have different ideas about what to do. You might get bored of the game, or he might really love it and, decide to play that one more than current WoW. Current me doesn't see that happening, but, future me is a different person. And, yeah, I think that answers that. Next question. Perhaps people want to be your friend based on the personality you project in your videos. They want to be around you because you're you, not because they think you're lonely. But I get not being interrupted. We just love you, dude. Deal with it and move on. This was in response to the thing I talked about in the last video, where I talked about how I like to play WoW alone, and that people were giving me messages saying, poor thing, you play WoW alone. Here, I'll be glad to play with you, since you play WoW alone all the time. And it's like, no, that's not what I was saying. I said I like to play alone. Not that I have to play alone all the time. It is a big difference. So, this question... Wait, is that really a question? It's more of a, trying to give more context to it. It's like, perhaps people, they just want to be your friend based on your personality, the thing you project in your videos, and not just because you're lonely. And I was like, yeah. I'm sure that's definitely part of it. Like, why would they reach out to me if they didn't, like me on some level? Of course, that's going to be part of it. It's also, another part of it is they think I'm lying about how I like to play alone or something. That's what I was talking about. It's like, I like to play by myself. It's not that I have to play by myself. It's my preferred way of playing the game. And I'm sure some of them like me. I do try my best to create a likable persona. Even if it doesn't really show through in a lot of the videos. Most of it's just kind of fact-based. But yeah, I totally get it. I'm just, acknowledging that. I was like, yeah, I get that too. But also, the people who are messaging me totally just thought I was lonely and needed a friend. That's sweet too. That's what I was also trying to say. It's really hard to talk about this without sounding like an egotistical asshole. It's like, ugh, all these people want to be my friends. I wish they wouldn't. Ugh, get away from me. What is it, normie? No, I don't know. What is a derogatory term for that kind of situation? I don't even know. I don't think normie even applies to that. Whatever. Let's go on to the next question. You have so many videos with some old footage. How do you get it? Did you tape everything from the beginning? There you go. You guessed it. Just over the years, whenever I do something, I just record it. This is what ruins video games for you. You know, when you make videos about them. Like, whenever I'm doing anything, I think, man, should I get footage of this just in case? I was doing the war campaign like last week on an alt. And I was having so much fun doing it because I didn't have to record. And then I got to a point where I passed my old mains, progress in the war campaign, and it was all new stuff. And I was like, damn it, I don't have footage of this. And I was like, oh man, I have to record. So I opened up my recording program and I started recording, and it was just not as fun anymore. Because like when you're recording, you have to be, it just adds like some mental pressure to it. It's like, man, if I need to go use the restroom, I gotta like quickly do that. I can't take breaks. Otherwise, there's going to be pauses in my recording, and then future me is going to be mad that he has to remove it. Because I have some footage like where I've took breaks in the past, and I think, damn it, why didn't I just like not take a break? Because now I have to edit that out. So there's all that stuff, and it's like, if someone messages me, then I got to edit that out before, as well. And it's just like, should I cut this into parts? What if something, emergency comes up and I have to stop playing, then I have to cut it into parts? Will I be able to find it later on? What kind of tag should I use when I label this later on? Because usually when I need footage, I'll just like go into, one of my hard drives and just type out what I need. It's like, man, I need footage of a rogue picking lockboxes. And I'll go in, type in lock picking, and nothing shows up. It's like, I know for, oh wait, I can cuss on this channel, can't I? I forgot. This is the Azeroth weather channel. There's no ads on this channel. It's like, I know for fucking sure I have lockpicking footage. So I just like looked everywhere for it, and I just typed in a whole bunch of different things, and eventually came up under just a normal like rogue search where it came with tons of footage. It's like, God, I gotta look through all of my rogue footage. And I finally found it, and it turns out I had just spelled lockpicking wrong. That's why it wasn't showing up. And I was like, oh my God. And see, this is what I have to be careful about. When I'm labeling my footage, I have to spell it correctly too, and I have to add a whole bunch of details to it, and it's just such a pain in the ass. Like, it's easy work stuff, but if you're just relaxing and having fun playing the game, and then all of a sudden you need to record, because there are times when I'm just like, you know what, I'm not going to record this. I don't want to. I want to have fun playing the game. And then later on I think, damn, I really need footage of that thing. Why didn't I record? Past me, you stupid idiot. It's just, yeah, so because of that, because I record basically everything, I have footage of basically everything. And I have it categorized into a whole bunch of different things and just different hard drive spaces and a whole bunch of tags on it. So I have footage of basically everything in the game if I need footage of it. And if I don't, I'll go out and get footage and then tag it like crazy. And I've just been doing this for like the past 5 years, so that's a lot of footage. So a lot of the times when I make videos, I only have to go out and get a little bit of footage because I usually just have it already. And, people don't notice. I've never gotten a comment on a video like, hey, you used this footage before in this other video from 2 years ago. It's like, yeah, no one notices. No one cares. Plus, I have so much footage that has probably never been used before that sometimes I'll be making a video and I was like, hey, I've never used this footage from 4 years ago. Huh, it's a good thing I got it though, because it's totally useful in this one video I'm doing now. So, yeah, like, I have footage of everything, and it also kind of ruins the game a little bit. The fact that I get footage of basically everything. So, next question. What program do you use to alter your voice? I don't use a program to alter my voice. I just do it normally. But there are some videos in which I do alter my voice. It's very rare though. Usually like in machinimas and stuff. And in that case, I use Audacity. There's just programs in it you can do. I basically just do pitch shifting, where you increase or decrease the pitch to make your voice higher or lower. And that also is accompanied with a little bit of voice acting as well. So even then, the program can only change your voice so much before it sounds unnatural. So what I do is I put on a voice as well, and then pitch shift it, which usually isn't really necessary, but it's Audacity. It's a free program. Basically every YouTuber uses it. It's really good. I'm using it right now to record this. Okay, next question. It's opportunity cost for the issue of gold farming is not free. Yeah, I always forget what it's called. Also here, when you have a skill to do something and someone's paying you to do it, they're mostly paying you for your time to do it, and that's why people who have a lot of time, that's why people who have a lot of work offers tend to request more money, because their time is more valuable than someone else's. Man, trying to explain opportunity cost to people is a fool's errand when it comes to video games, because they just literally don't think their time is worth anything. And I don't think there's any way to convince people about it. Like even in the comments of the Q and A when I was talking about how it's impossible to convince people of this fact, I still got people... No, actually that one was kind of reasonable if I remember correctly. He was talking about in the main video how I argued a weird point, that did kind of give them some arguments. I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that, because there was a point in the video where I talked about, selling mats way below market value just because you got them for free. It's not a very good point. I really shouldn't have made it, because there are some situations in which you have mats that you didn't really have to work to get, but it's totally acceptable to sell them under market value because you're probably just trying to get rid of them really quickly. In situations like maybe you're the guild's disenchanter. They send you pieces of equipment to disenchant, and, you just keep the shards. What if you just want to clean out your bags? You don't really care what the market value is for those, so you just post at whatever price you think is reasonable. In those situations, yeah, sure, it's fine to just post them at whatever, because, you did kind of get those for free, in a sense. And that's kind of a point people had, with the gold farming video on why gold farming isn't free, why farming isn't free. You see, the main point I was trying to make, a point that would have been better made if I had excluded that part I just talked about, was that people will factor in the cost of their mats to crafting materials based on the notion that they got them for free because they went out and farmed them themselves, which isn't true. You used your valuable time to go out and farm those mats. There go, and therefore, and whatever other word, that means you didn't get those mats for free. You exchanged your time for them. So you shouldn't, factor in the fact they're free. That shouldn't allow you to post them under market value. However, there are other reasons in which you can post them under market value that have nothing to do with the fact that you spent time to get those mats. Sometimes it's smart to post things under market value. Sometimes you're just trying to make a quick buck. Sometimes you're trying to, reset the prices on the server. Sometimes you're just trying to get out of a market. And you don't really, you just want to get rid of your mats. You don't really care what kind of profits you're making on it. Or, you're just trying to undercut everyone else so that they leave the market. And then you can, have a monopoly on it, which doesn't work. That doesn't work in WoW. I wouldn't suggest that, but, people still try to do it anyway. I've never seen it succeed. But, there are some people who have so many, liquid resources in their bags that they can completely tank a server's economy if they felt like it. So, just because I've never seen it before doesn't mean it probably couldn't happen, but I think in those like extreme situations, I think Blizzard has ways to like reset it. But, so I guess, there's some leeway to it. The point being, though, just because you farmed mats doesn't mean they're free. You spent time to get them, and that time could have been spent doing something else. But people just love to argue that point, like, I spent that time playing a video game, so technically it's free because it was just something I did in my off time. And it's like, no, that's something you could have spent doing something else in your off time. And you instead chose to farm mats with your off time. That doesn't mean it's free. You still chose to use that time to do that, which could have been spent doing anything else instead of farming mats. Like, if you farm mats for fun, that's fine, but you still could have also farmed a different mat for fun. Why did you farm those specific ones? Why didn't you, for fun, do something else that's worth more gold per hour? There's so many other things you could do to the point where farming is still not free. However, that doesn't really affect what you sell the prices for. It's just, I guess I can kind of see, why I need to add some more caveats to that discussion. Because I can kind of see some of the other points they made to it. Bringing up some legitimate things like, sure, maybe I didn't get them for free, but that doesn't mean I can't sell them under market value. That's like, you know what? That's true. But you also still didn't get your mats for free. I won't relent on that point because it's not true. Let's go on. I'm not going to talk about that again. If I keep talking about this, someone's going to mention it in every single Q&A. And from here on out, I'm just going to keep talking about the same issue. Next question. What a surprise. I never expected you to also play Dota, especially as my favorite hero, Tinker. I have a whole channel dedicated for that hero specific. Not only we share interest in Warcraft anime and YouTube content creation, but also in Dota hero. So relatable. This comment was made by someone who's a Russian YouTuber, I think. I'm pretty sure I took a look at his channel. I was like, wait, he really makes videos just about Dota? And I checked his channel and he had like 45,000 subscribers. And yeah, he had a whole bunch of Dota 2 videos just about Tinker. And I was like, man, that's surprising. So for those of you who don't know, like trying to explain Tinker and why he's a fun hero to play. In Dota 2, you can use items. And most items are balanced around their cooldowns. Like one item allows you to teleport, which is very useful. But, it only allows you to teleport a short duration. And, it has like a 25-second cooldown. So basically, you can only use it to engage a fight or to run away. Because I think you can't use it if you've been hit recently. But, it allows you to teleport a short distance. And it's a game, with multiple levels. So you can teleport up a ramp and your opponent can't get you. You can teleport into the middle of trees, to completely get away from people. Or, teleport into trees in order to attack them from them. Lots of different things you can do with it. But the item is balanced around its cooldown. Tinker has an ultimate ability with no cooldown. It just has a long cast time and mana cost, where you can reset the cooldown of all your items and abilities, including the Blink Dagger. So, with Tinker, you basically have unlimited cooldowns on your items and abilities. And he allows so many more different item options because you can reset the cooldown of everything. There's also these other items called, I don't remember what they are, they're boots that allow you to teleport to any tower or back to base, except they have a 1-minute cooldown, which means nothing to Tinker. So basically, once you get those boots, you have global presence. You can teleport anywhere and then blink into the bushes and attack him from range because he has a really good AoE. And then once you do all that, you reset the cooldowns and you just teleport back to the fountain and heal up and get all your mana back. And you also take up there's this one item which, it'll give you back some mana and health, and it has 3 charges, but once you run out of 3 charges, you have to run back to the fountain in order to recharge them. I forget what it's called, But basically, you take that as Tinker because you spend so much time back at base, just regenerating, that you spam that in order to get your health and mana back faster. Because your ultimate does reset the cooldown of everything you have, but it costs a lot of mana. So you can only go out and do so much before you have to run back to base. Teleport back to base instantly. It's a really fun build. It's great. I guess it's not really viable at the highest levels, but who plays at the highest levels? Minority of people. Even though everybody thinks they're top tier, most people are not. It was a lot of fun. There's nothing like that in Heroes of the Storm, but even then, I still prefer Heroes of the Storm so much that I quit playing Dota, even if I did really like Tinker. Okay. So, but yeah, that is weird that you like WoW, the same animes, and you also only play Tinker. That's pretty funny. Next question. Is Dave and DevBot ever coming back? Yeah. I do plan on finishing it. It's just I have other plans to do before then. Because you see, I have like this series of videos I want to make. Videos that are just like creative focused. And I know they won't do well. So I can only do them on my free time. And I have another series I want to finish first. Before I work on Dave and DevBot. But I do plan on finishing it. No estimated time when I'll finish it. I did want to finish the 3rd season this year, but consider I'm halfway through the year and I haven't finished the other project I wanted to do first, I don't see that happening. Maybe I'll hire someone to do it and just take the loss on it. That would probably be the easiest way to get that made. Next question. Hero, have you seen modern magic art? They've moved away from the old fantasy novel cover art, and it's much better now. I actually recently bought a pack of magic cards from the store, to test this for myself. And looking at the new art, it's much better, honestly. I'll take it back. The art, not half bad. It doesn't look ugly like it used to. Kudos to Magic for not using that garbage art they used to. I can see why people like the art of the cards now. Next question. Actually, I downloaded Magic the Gathering Arena to try to give it another fair shot. Because I did give it a try, and I didn't really like it. But it's like, that was kind of a limited try. I bought like 2 starter decks, and I played against my little brother. We both didn't really like it very much. We got the gist of the combat and everything, but, if you only played Yu-Gi-Oh! With just tribute summoning, that wouldn't be very fun either. So, maybe I'll give the arena a try. I might like it more. I can't see that happening, but, it seems like something I would probably enjoy, and I'd like to give it another fair shot. When I have the free time to do it, I don't really have free time. That's something for people who don't spend, 5 days a week working nonstop. 'Cause that's what I do. I work Monday through Friday all day. Like, as soon as I wake up, I check my emails and stuff, and then I eat breakfast, and as soon as I'm done with that, I work until dinner, and then once I eat that, I work until midnight. So I just work all day. I obviously take breaks whenever I have my raid or my D&D games, but if I'm not taking a break, from working in order to do one of those time-sensitive things, then I'm working on videos, because I have 4 channels to run and 3 editors to give videos to. Plus, I still make videos on my own as well. That's a lot of back-end stuff. Plus just the back-end stuff of doing YouTube. I spent like all day today just doing grunt work. Because you see, when I put stuff on my calendar to track my hours, if I'm doing something that's not directly related to creating a video, I just call it grunt work. And there's lots of little grunt work things, like replying to emails, or, I don't even know, doing Patreon stuff, talking to people, making thumbnails, all of that stuff, or, researching a new editing technique. Grunt work, that's just what I call it. I forget, how much grunt work did I have today? It looks like I had It was only 2 hours of grunt work today. That's not so much. It felt 3 hours. I just labeled it differently. I had 2 hours of Patreon grunt work because I did the drawings and rewards today. And then 1 hour of Yu-Gi-Oh! Grunt work. I totally forgot about that. That was something else. That was actually more video related, not really grunt work, so it's kind of mislabeled. I was looking up cards for a video series, but I don't remember what I was talking about. Let's see. Next question. How did I get into grunt work over talking about magic? Oh, because I don't have free time. That's right. So, I said Monday through Friday. That's because I take Saturdays and Sundays off. And Saturdays is usually the day when I go out and do stuff. Like if there's a family birthday or event, we'll usually do those on Saturdays. And so Saturdays, for like the past couple of months, like most of the people in my family have our birthdays from like January to April. So, plus all of the holidays of Easter and Mother's Day, stuff like that. We do all that stuff on Saturday. So that day is usually spent like out of the house doing something. And then Sunday, that's my true day off because we rarely do anything on that. And on Sundays, I run my D&D game. So I usually have to spend most of that day, prepping and reviewing, what's going to happen. Because the best way to run a D&D game is to like know your material inside and out. Because, even though I do run off of a script, a pre-done program and everything, I still have to make like pretty much all of the maps and the NPCs. And I have to know the story well enough so that I can properly roleplay the characters. Without having to like go back to like, wait, you asked a question, let me read this up real quick and then I can answer it. It's like, you don't want to do that. You want to just know it all off the top of your head. So I spend most of Sunday reviewing that stuff. And then the second half of Sunday actually playing the game. And that's a lot of fun. But that also doesn't leave me a lot of time to play video games. So that's basically, I have one day a week in which I can play games. Like actually play games. And that's on Saturday. And I'm usually out of the house. So when I have free time, I'll definitely, try up Magic the Gathering Arena, except for the fact that there's 3 other games I want to play first. Like, first off, WoW. I still want to finish the war campaign. I just haven't had time to do it because I need to record it now. So I can't just do it willy-nilly. And then after I finish the war campaign, I need to level up my cooking on my main character. I've been putting it off because I need time to do that. And then after I do that, I think I'm finally done on that character until the next patch starts. In which time I can go back to my alt and start setting up professions for daily crafts. And that takes a lot of time. Not too much time because I started a new server and I have all of these new alts that I need to level up. So that's another thing I need to do. I need to level up my alts. I need to create a banker tune. I started on a new server like 2 months ago now and I still don't have a banker tune. And I really need to set one up. I just haven't had the time because I'm at the character cap. So I'd have to go through all of my different servers and see which character I can delete before I can make it. And I just haven't had time for that. It's like whenever I get on WoW, it's usually just to do my dailies or raid or Mythic Plus dungeons. And that's it. Like I don't have time to do anything else. So, WoW, that's my number 1 priority of things I want to do. And then number 2 is the new Hearthstone adventures. They put out the $1 heist Hearthstone adventures with like 5 different modes, and it's styled after the dungeon runs, which were like my favorite piece of things they ever added to Hearthstone. And this is like, super built upon that, and it's like, wow, this is awesome. I can't wait to play through all of this. But I don't have time. It's so much fun. I really enjoyed the dungeon runs so much. That was the most fun I've ever had playing Hearthstone, was when they added dungeon runs. And this is like a super buffed up version of it. They put so much more time and effort into this that they charge money for it. And I already bought it all. Like I have all 5 of the chapters unlocked. I just need to play through them and then play through them on heroic mode. And that I've only been able to play through the first 2 chapters on normal, and I really want to play the rest of it. So that's something I want to do one of these Saturdays. And also, the new Diablo season started, and this season they have the free legendary set you get for the Crusader was the one for Thorns, which gives you crazy thorn damage. So like you can just stand still and monsters will come up and hit you and die. Like they literally just kill themselves because you have so much reflect damage. And the free 6 set bonus you get this season for Crusaders is that. I was like, man, I've always wanted to try the Thorns build in Diablo 3. They did a whole bunch of changes to it. They unlocked Greater Rifts 16. Like when I used to play Diablo 3 all the time, it only went up to 10. And now it's at 16. It's like, holy shit. I want to see what it's like to farm at 16 if my hands are finally like well enough where I can play Diablo. As long as I only play for 1 day a week. Diablo's a very clicker intensive game, but my hands have been getting better. And I think I can handle Diablo as long as I don't play it too much. So I really want to play this new season. And I've already leveled up my character to max, and I got a boost. And I've already unlocked my 4 set bonus, I think. That was the last thing I did before I had to stop for the day like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so those are the 3 things I want to do immediately. And then after that, I really want to play a Path of Exile season. Because, I've never really liked it. It's not as polished as Diablo 3. But the underlying gameplay, I've heard from many people who love Diablo 3 as well, is just so much better and more expanded upon than Diablo 3. And I was like, I would really like to try that out. Like, even if it's not as flashy or it doesn't look as good, it's not terrible either. Like, the graphics aren't half bad. They're just different. They're a little bit more realistic instead of cartoony, which is just a art style I'm not used to. If I played it more often, I'd probably get more used to it. And, the combat just doesn't feel as good, but the underlying gameplay, once you hit max level, it's kind of like judging World of Warcraft from the early game. Of course, it's not as fun as max level, because the game is basically all about max level. So I need to get max level, and I'd really like to try that one of these days. But that's like 4th on my list of priority. And there's also this new game I got sent. It's called... Let me see, what is it called? It's called Vambrace Cold Soul. It's like a roguelike game, kind of. It reminds me a lot of Darkest Dungeon. And I really like the art style for it. I've always wanted to try Darkest Dungeon. And, the beginning storyline they had for it seemed interesting. I was like, oh, I actually want to see what happens next. So I really want to play that game. And I probably would put that, above WoW in priority. It's a single player game. I can actually play through it all and actually finish it. Whereas, Diablo, there'll always be another season. And WoW, the stuff isn't going anywhere. I can still go back and do it. And same with Hearthstone to an extent. The adventure's not going anywhere. It's basically there for whenever I want to do it. So, after those 5 things, then I can definitely try out Magic the Gathering Arena and give it a good shot. Although, I am thinking about how I really want to get back into Minions Master, but I don't have time. I don't have time to do anything. Oh man. One of these days I'm just going to take a week off and just play video games, but I can't do that. Because if I did that, then I'd be like, oh man, I really want to work. I'd break my good habits and everything. Or maybe I can just, have a better work-life balance where I play video games, at night. Instead of working all day. That might be a better idea, but I already barely finish all my work for the week. As is. I used to work 7 days a week, and now I'm only working 5. And I'm doing more work now than I used to. Because I have those 2 successful channels that I need to make videos for. Well, whatever. First world problems. I want to play too many video games, but instead I have to make videos about video games. Erg. How frustrating. Alright. I spent way more time talking about that than I was really expecting. I really hope people haven't fallen asleep by this point, because I've been using my normal speaking voice. I'll have you know, I rarely use this voice anymore. Like, my YouTube persona voice has kind of replaced my normal voice just because it is better for talking. So this was the voice I just use with like friends if I'm not trying, or just having fun. Non-YouTube friends. So, do you have let's see, next question. There's only like 5 more questions left. Did you destroy your body by playing sports? Yes. I messed up my leg and shoulder with sports, but that doesn't account for the other problems I have, like my chest and stomach problems. Those are something else. But I did mess up 2 parts of my body with sports. Next question. If that's not your real voice, good choice on picking voice. It's very nice. I hate listening to some people who scream. This is a good one. My YouTube voice, the one I use, it's basically just my real voice, just with a little bit more energy put into it. I think it's pretty normal. It makes it seem like it's my real voice. Like, it kind of sounds, if you do a good job with your YouTube voice, no one will even notice that you're doing a voice. That's why, if people are surprised to know that this isn't my real voice, that's a good thing. You don't want people to recognize that you're using a fake voice. But there are some YouTubers who go a little bit too far, with their fake voice, and basically just scream the whole time. I see it a lot. It reminds me of people who don't know how to like act natural, or don't know how to make people like them. So they just default to something that's easy. Like people who want to people who want other people to like them. They'll sometimes default to just being overly nice to the point where it's kind of unsettling. Like, if someone is just constantly happy and nice about everything and never has anything bad to say, that's a fake person. Normal people aren't like that. It comes off as very unsettling. People don't like that, but that's the default. People who, want to be personable, they want to make friends with other people. They just want people to think of them favorably. They'll just be overly nice, which isn't how you do it. Obviously you want to be nice, but you need to have some flaws as well. Like, even if you don't actually have flaws, creating fake flaws makes you seem more likable. Oh man, I shouldn't be giving away how to, create an interesting fake personality. But that's the thing, being too overly nice is very common. Same thing with YouTubers who are trying, to do a more speaker voice. They just like basically yell sometimes. I see this a lot with like channels that have a younger demographic. They're just yelling constantly. Or there's this one guy on the Game Theory channel who basically just yells all his lines. It's so annoying. I basically just skip those videos. Even MatPat's been like yelling more often. And, I guess they're just trying to appeal to a younger demographic. Makes sense. There are some people who definitely, they just have a very fake voice. Like, hey guys, what's up? Hit that like, favorite, subscribe button. You guys are my bros. Make sure you, check out my merch. All those kinds of things. And until next time, stay for Rizzle. It sounds very fake. And, they say it with a lot more energy than when I did. Those kinds of things. I can understand, I think those are bad fake voices. You have to do it in a way where people don't even know you're doing a voice. And it's a lot more harder, and it took me years to get mine right. I can't watch my early videos because they're so bad. Like, the audio on them, even though I bought a good mic early on, the audio quality on those are so bad just because I didn't know how to talk. Like, I didn't know how to do a speaker voice correctly. I was still learning it. It took a lot of time and effort to get it right. And I think mine is pretty good now, to a point where, at the moment, I don't know if I could really improve upon it anymore. I don't think I really need to. It's good enough. But my early ones are so bad. And I used to think it was good back then, too. I thought it was perfectly fine, and I just can't watch my old videos anymore because they're so bad. The audio quality on them, anyway. I like any video from before 2018, I think has bad audio on it. So yeah, it's only been really recently that I think I finally hit my stride and found a good fake voice for videos. One that's not yelling. Let's see. Next question, just out of curiosity. Okay, so the next 3 questions are all by the same person, which are the last questions, basically. Just out of curiosity, would you consider hiring or converting yourself as a writer if you were to reach a point of no longer being physically capable of making videos from start to finish? Would I consider hiring or converting myself as a writer? What? I already basically am a writer. If I was no longer physically capable of making videos from start to finish, like I already have a voice to text feature, which writes my scripts for me. Like I no longer, type out any of my scripts. I do them all through my voice recognition software. I do have to go in and fix them though, because it's not perfect. It's 90% accurate, but I still have to go through and look for that 10% that's just completely wrong. Like one of these days I'll have to post, a rough draft of my script compared to an edited version of the script. It is very noticeable which parts aren't cleaned up. Like it's just gibberish. Actually, I sent one off earlier. I have one right now, a raw script that's not edited. I wonder if I can bring that up real quick, because I sent it off to an editor. And let's see if I can find it real quick. Here it is. A raw script straight from the thing. I don't care if you guys know what this video is. Okay, so this one, it's a top 10 video about, weapons from Classic WoW. I'm going to read you the script, just the first part of it without changing anything. So it says, in a number 10, we have the Dark Iron Pulverizer. This is a 2-handed mace with an amazing effect, where it has a random chance on hit to stun the target for 8 seconds. That is longer than any other stun that a player character can use in-game, but from vanilla WoW anyway, and that would have made this weapon really amazing. It wasn't for the fact that it never procced. Well, never isn't the correct term for it. It's more like you just had an incredibly low chance to procced, where if he had something continuously for 5 minutes, you might see a procced one time. It procced so infrequently that it was basically useless, and just kind of a gimmick weapon. But oh boy, if this thing did proc, then you could totally swap to a better weapon and make full use of that 8-second stun. So, not too bad. You could totally understand where it is, but there were a couple of moments where the grammar was a little off. I was trying to read as directly as possible. Like, I can usually fix a lot of those mistakes while I'm reading the script. Like, I don't even have to change the script because I can understand, what it's trying to say. So it's really accurate. I just have to clean it up, like 10% to make sure it's a little bit more accurate. If I was physically incapable of completely making anything, I could still write the scripts as long as I could still speak. Unless I was just like completely quadriplegic, I can still make videos, especially since I have my editors. If it got to the point where I couldn't edit videos anymore, I don't think the channels would really change because I have 3 editors currently. And it'd be more of a case like if, one of the editors eventually quit, then I'd have to find a new one, and then I'd probably be in trouble, while I'm looking for a new one. Because I don't know if I'd be able to find another one. It's really hard to find good editors who, don't flake out on you. Because I had tried finding editors for a long time in the past, and I gave up because every single one of them flaked out eventually. They were like new people to editing. Some of them had skills, but all of them eventually found out editing is very time consuming and not fun. So they all quit. Happens a lot. So, what was the rest of that question? If so, what kind of content would you consider going into? And would it be contract work, or for a company as big as, say, Lunas Media Group, for example? Linus is not as obnoxious or arrogant as he might sound for having a YouTube channel after his name. Wait, are you saying if I couldn't make videos anymore, would I just become a writer for someone else? I mean, no, I would just keep doing what I'm doing, honestly. Or, just find more editors. Or, I guess if none of that worked out, I could offer my writing services to someone, but I would make way more money just doing what I'm doing now. So that's a no-go for me. Let's see, next question. It says, second question, since you don't have a P.O. box, what's your thoughts about merchandise? Think it's interesting, pointless, same as having a P.O. box, or you simply haven't considered the option before now? I'll have you know, I considered merchandise from day one of doing YouTube. I'm sure most YouTubers do. Kind of like that syndrome of the whole guy meets cute girl who smiles at him, and then he imagines their whole life together. It was those kinds of things when it came to YouTube. It's like, man, imagine if this worked. I can sell all this merchandise, have all these videos. It would be the perfect job. There's no way that's going to happen, though. And so what I did to that end was I had like a really crappy Deathwing drawing that I would put in a lot of the early videos, because I thought, one day when I sell merch, this is going to be the cornerstone of it. This is going to be my thing. And I eventually ended up abandoning it because no one really seemed to like it. And I didn't really try anything else. And that was the end of my merchandise endeavor. And now I have people occasionally asking me, when I'm going to do merchandise. And I would just say no. That wouldn't work. My brand isn't the kind of brand which would sell merchandise or, make a profit off of it. It seems like a lot of busy work for something that doesn't seem worth the time or effort. And that time or effort could be spent actually working on videos instead of trying to sell merchandise with like my logo on it that no one cares about. I have thought about it, and the thought led to a big old no. Not at this moment. Third and biggest question, I know someone that used to do videos as a hobby. His channel is just shy of 3K subs. So he's got the tiny channel. Got shafted by YouTube's algorithm many times over, videos being flagged for silly reasons, and demonetized as a result. The list goes on and on. Wait, how is a channel with 3K subs monetized? Like, he must have been getting some really good views. Maybe this was before they changed the monetization task. It used to be, before the adpocalypse, you could get your channel monetized, like, immediately, even if you only had, like, 100 views, total on your channel, which meant you were making pennies. Literally pennies. The average go rate for ads is like, you make $1 per 1,000 views on average. A little bit higher, a little bit more, depends on what kind of video, how long it is, a whole bunch of different factors, but that is a really good constant. It's kind of a low estimate, but it's super accurate for low viewed videos, because ad rates on videos which don't hit 100,000 views are tiny. That's just another thing about it. I don't know why. That is. You make so little off of ads on videos that don't get a lot of views, and it starts going up way more once the video gets more views. Man, there's just a lot that goes into it. So if you have a channel with 3K subs, I'd assume the max amount of views you're getting per month, because this is all on per month basis, would probably be about 10K if your channel was doing good. We'll go with 10K. That's about, the Azeroth Weather channel with its 10,000 subscribers hits about 30,000 views per month on average. And this channel I wrote off as being so insignificant that it's not worth advertising on. So, those are the numbers we're going off of. We'll assume, 3K subs, 10,000 views per month, could be way more. Like when my WoW channel had 5,000 views. 5,000 subs. It was some months it would get 500,000 views per month. It could be way higher than that, but, about 3 times its sub count as views per month, that sounds reasonable. So at 10,000 views per month, with the very low ad rates, I would say they were making about $5 a month, which isn't very good. But I mean, I guess $5 a month doing something you love, getting anything is better than nothing. Sure, that's fine, but that's such an insignificant amount to really fuss over. Anyways, continuing on, I'm just trying to put like a, real world numbers to this. Getting shafted over YouTube algorithms, videos being flagged for silly reasons. I'm surprised he got, I just said that, didn't I? Like the Azeroth Weather channel, it can have ads on the videos. Like I put it through the process. You have to like submit an application and then they review your channel and you need to meet a couple of certain requirements for it. One of them is having 4,000 hours of views, like hours, not, just views total. So if you have a whole bunch of really short videos, like less than 10 seconds, you might not actually meet the requirement. And it has to be like within the last year or something. They can't just be lifetime 4,000 hours of watch time. And you also need to have at least 1,000 subscribers, I think. So the Azeroth Weather channel met both of those requirements really easily. And even then, it still took months before they approved the monetization. And then when they did approve it, I made sure to turn them off. Just like, ooh, I have it now. All right, let's make sure this doesn't accidentally turn itself on. And yeah, we're good. No ads. So, I had to do it again recently for this channel. So if the videos got demonetized, that's not really a big thing. Getting shafted over by YouTube's algorithm, videos being flagged for silly reasons. I remember that. Like, honestly, I do. On the, my earlier channels, on the Dual Logs and on Haruma Red X, both of those channels, my videos would get flagged for the dumbest reasons when I first started out. And it seems like that's still a problem today. Yeah, I totally get it. That's why I joined a network. That completely stopped it. Once I joined Curse, I no longer got flagged for stupid shit. Like, they would flag my videos for no reason and then tell me, you need to prove that you own everything in this video. And it's like, why do I need to prove I own my own video? Like, what prompted this? The video literally just got uploaded. I created everything in there myself. It's my own voice. Of course, the footage and stuff is from WoW and everything, but they let you do all that stuff. Same with the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I owned everything, and YouTube was like, we can't monetize this video until you prove that you own everything. And it's like, why? How do I prove this to you? And it's like, here's how you prove it. Write us an itemized list of everything that appeared in the video and just a whole bunch of stupid shit. I was like, no, I'm not going through this. I don't care that much. This video will probably get like 100 views. It's not worth it. I was like, man, that was such a headache. That's why I joined a network. Like, I was lucky. When I joined a network, I joined one of the good ones. I'm still part of it today. And that got rid of all those problems. I no longer got stupid shit. Although there's new things they like to flag you for. My channels have been family friendly since day one, so I don't have to worry about those new things. Luckily for me. I wonder what kind of videos your friend is making where he's getting flagged all the time, though. That doesn't seem right. But, maybe it is. I don't know. I've heard Preach gets his videos demonetized a lot. And he basically just talks about WoW. So, it could happen to anyone, I guess. Or, I don't know why Preach gets demonetized. Maybe he did something. I might have to think of a different example for that. Otherwise, look into it more. So, let's continue on. Even if you get demonetized and everything, I should also add here, you can still do well in the algorithm. It doesn't really affect you that much. Just as long as people are watching your videos in droves. I have 2 successful channels that grew independent of each other. There was no cross promotion. People who liked my WoW videos weren't going over to my Yu-Gi-Oh ones, because it's 2 completely different things. Most of the time I get comments like, I didn't even know you had a WoW channel, or vice versa. I didn't know you had a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. They both grew independent of each other, and they both are currently successful. So, you can do it. I've done it twice. But I have an advantage where I have 5 years of YouTube knowledge of trying a whole bunch of different things and failing, and, sticking to the things that actually work. I have a huge advantage over people who are trying this for the first time. So it's not really comparable. Luckily, there are people who sell their services on YouTube. There are some people who, like, their job is basically YouTube consultants. You can hire them and they'll go over your channel and tell you what you can do to improve and everything. And some of those are legit. Like, I could totally sell my knowledge to someone and 100% improve their channel, like, within the next couple of months. Because there's so many different things you can do, things you wouldn't even think about that just improve the chances that your videos will get seen. But let's not go into that. I've made 2 videos about those kinds of things. You can find them. One of them's on my WoW channel, and another one is on this channel, the Azeroth Weather channel. Like, I have 2 videos just full of suggestions. Like, both of them are like half an hour long, just full of YouTube advice. It's like an hour of really good advice right there. So, let's continue on. The list goes on, and now he prefers streaming on Twitch because he finds more enjoyment from that platform. Good for him. My question is this: what are some of the advantages to having a network for a semi-serious YouTube channel? And do you have any tips on the kind of questions that a creator should be asking before making a decision? Basically, if a network comes to you, they're probably not very good. I get lots of emails from networks all the time, and they're all basically shady, or just, the very big multi-channel networks that just want your revenue without having to do anything. That's basically the one I'm in right now, because if I had to search them out, and they have really good rates, and I actually get a couple of really nice benefits from it, to the point where it's kind of worth it, but at the same time, I've kind of outgrown the usefulness of them. I could totally just leave them tomorrow and be fine with just YouTube. But the thing is, like, the network I signed on with, I don't have, like, any limitations in my contract. Like, I can just cancel it whenever. I could leave tomorrow and then be like, okay, because that's what I signed. It was a really good one. They don't really accept people anymore, though, so that's not really an option. And I don't know of any other good ones out there. Like, a lot of those multi-channel networks shut down for a good reason. YouTube kind of, like, held them more responsible for the people's content that they showed. So it wasn't an easy cash chain like it used to be. So a lot of them closed down or don't exist anymore. And the ones that did stick around, they cut a lot of their small channels and only kept, like, the, people worth keeping. Kind of like how both of my Yu-Gi-Oh channel and my WoW channel, they were definitely kept. But the same network dropped my Pet Battle channel, which is now just 100% on YouTube. And it's doing fine. I don't get any flags in the videos. It's monetized perfectly acceptably. Every couple of months, YouTube sends me a check for the channel. And I was like, I'm just making, because YouTube will only send you money if you hit $100 for the month. And the Pet Battle channel doesn't do that well, because I hardly upload it on anymore. But I still do upload on it. It's just something I do for fun on the side. That's what it always was. I didn't really make it to make a whole bunch for it to be successful. But the thing is, I didn't make the Yu-Gi-Oh channel to be successful either, and that ended up doing that anyway. So, there's always that hope. It's like, I'm doing this for fun, but one of these days it could do super well. But it doesn't. It's just, I am partnered on a network, and I also am partnered through YouTube, so I know it through both ways. There's not really too many advantages to joining a network, other than getting rid of the stupid claims. And I don't even know if they really do them like they did back then. The claims you're probably getting are probably for something else. So, my question is, what are some advantages to having a network for a semi-serious YouTube channel? Not very many. And do you have any tips on the kind of questions that a creator should be asking before making a decision? Yeah, you want to make sure the partner's cut is as low as possible. Preferably 0%. Like, no joke, you should ask if, they'll partner with you and they'll take no cut. If not 0%, then you start going up from there. It's like, okay, how about a 1% cut? all the way up to 10%. If it goes higher than 10%, tell them no. There are some exceptions though. I had a friend who runs a YouTube channel, and he literally could not monetize his channel because he got a flag early in his YouTube channel's life, and YouTube banned him for making AdSense. And it's almost impossible to get that ban unturned. And then a network came around, they're like, hey, your channel does really well. We'd like to, partner with you. And he's like, oh, I can't, because YouTube told me, YouTube won't let me put ads on my channel. And they're like, you know what? What if we talk to YouTube? Would you be willing to sign with us? And he's like, yeah, it's better than making nothing. So they talked to YouTube and they got ads put on his channel. And he's been trying to get that overturned for years. And in return, they gave him a contract for 80-20. A 20% cut on his ad revenue when previously he couldn't monetize at all. That's a pretty good deal. Even though you want to get as low as possible, if your, channel network actually does something that beneficial for you, then, there are exceptions to be made. Let's see. My question is, any tips on the kind of questions a creator should be asking? Yeah, you absolutely want a contract where you can leave whenever you want. That should be number one. You need to have the ability to leave whenever you feel like it. If they won't give that to you, don't even entertain the thought of talking with them. That is the number one thing you need to watch out for. And let's see, next one. Independent channels won't make it big on their own. There's no way to around that truth, I think. Not true. It requires a lot of knowledge of how to metagame YouTube. And it is true that most people who are new to it don't know any of the amount of things. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I continuously study YouTube's and, the trends and everything. I definitely have a huge advantage over someone who's just starting fresh because of my knowledge of how YouTube works and what people want to watch. Where if I started another new channel and that was the only thing I focused on, I could turn it into a success. I have the utmost confidence in that because I've already done it twice. But could I turn it into a mega success? That's a different thing. I have never been one who wanted to be super rich or famous. So the fact that my two channels are doing, as well as they are right now, I'm already past my ambitions in life. That is to say, I didn't really have any. So anything above what I have now is always, just reaching new highs. I don't have ambitions to be the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTuber or the biggest WoW YouTuber. But the channels are both doing so well that they're both included in some of the biggest. In the top 10 for sure. But will it ever get up to the ranks of, being over 1 million subscribers? Probably not, but I also don't care because they're already doing so well as they are right now. So let's see. Independent channels won't make it big on their own. There's no way around that truth, I think. Not true. But, if you spend a long time studying YouTube, or, just pay the services of one of those people who actually know how YouTube works, worth your money. Video creators, that's one I would recommend. P.S. Hope you get your hands better soon once you find a semi-competent doctor. It's all guesswork and lab code anyway. I should really find another doctor. My hands have honestly been feeling better to the point where I can use them. My left hand, it still hurt. It's still definitely injured. And it's been hurt for 8 months now. It's not going to get better on its own. But it's doing much better than it used to be, and I can actually use it for everyday activities now, with minimal pain. I've basically gotten used to just not using it as much, and I'm almost fine with it. It's not better. I still definitely need to go to a doctor to get it 100% fixed, but I can play video games with it now. And, just as long as I take things easy. All right. I didn't expect to spend so long on these last couple of questions. I thought for sure this was going to be under an hour long. That didn't end up happening. So, you got an hour of me talking with my natural speaking voice, which I rarely use anymore, even in real life. So, Anyways, I do these every 2 weeks, or I used to anyway. I can probably start doing that again since I don't care about the view counts on this channel. This channel is very free. Whenever I put videos up, I have no expectations for them to have to do well. And because, I don't make any money from them. And it's a really freeing feeling. It's nice not having to worry about that kind of stuff. So, if you have questions for the next Q and A, leave them in the comments. Oh, there's also one other thing. I'm not actually allowed to say curse words on this channel. That's also fun. You don't recognize how much you say curse words until you have to try to censor yourself. Like, I'm not someone who cusses all the time, but I definitely have to stop myself more than once whenever I'm doing a live stream. So, my throat's starting to hurt, even though I tried my best not to use it very much. I gotta go now. Until next time.